Welcome to Overwatch, and welcome to a calm little video all about the new PTR patch. Now then, in the background there's a couple of things. First of all, there'll be some of the normal comedy things. I think it's just one or two little bits and pieces. And then there's also some PTR gameplay footage. I will never understand people going onto the PTR and then playing Symmetra, basically AFKing in a corner or something silly. I don't know, maybe they just want to get away with it somewhere and be consequence free. I don't know. PTR psychology. You could write a novel on it. Anyway, let's look at these patch notes. So if you aren't aware, on May 3rd, well, like very late in the evening, basically, PTR on Overwatch was updated, and there's a couple of big changes in here. Mostly changes to Orisa and Hanzo, with some quality of life stuff for quality of life stuff for Reaper and Genji in there as well. Also some new kill feed stuff, so yay! So I'm literally just going to blitz through these notes and sort of give you my impressions on how this will actually change the game. First and foremost, custom games and game browser. You can now disable secondary fire and secondary weapons in custom games. That sounds good to me. I guess if you want to use bots to do headshot drills and stuff, you can definitely do it on that. And you can also disable one Symmetra ultimate while leaving the other active. So if you want shield generator available but not teleporter available, you can do that now. Just a nice tech thing, I guess. Now let's get on to the meat of it. Hero updates. So Genji and Hanzo both got this buff where removed the attack cooldown from Genji's wall climbing ability, allowing him to engage with enemies immediately after completing a climb. So basically, Hanzo and Genji can both pop up from a climb and start attacking pretty much instantly. This is more of a buff for Genji than Hanzo, because Hanzo still has to charge his bow or lead into the next part. Actually, that got changed. So basically now if you start climbing a wall, you don't have to recharge the arrow. You keep the amount of charge that you have when you jump off the wall, and then you will continue building up from there, or you'll just hold a full charge arrow. Also, the charge speed is increased by 10% now, so you're drawing and firing your arrows slightly faster. Hanzo buffs coming in, ladies and gentlemen. DPS increase for the Hanzo, a little bit more maneuverability, a little bit more fluidity to his gameplay. Still probably completely fucking useless. I kid. Partially, he's an interesting one. Very rewarding if you can make him work, but the travel time on those projectiles is always going to include an element of, shall we say, luck. To me, the big juicy change in this one was the Orisa change. So Orisa has been tweaked on the PTR. Her damage has been decreased by 15%. The protective barrier cooldown has decreased by a third, going from 12 seconds to 8 seconds. That's actually a pretty chunky change, because if you think about how long it usually takes for people to bring down the barrier, I normally time it out when a team's focusing it to about 8 seconds. You usually have to wait for about 4 or 5 seconds every single time the barrier gets destroyed to replace it with a new one. So now you're just going to be churning them out. It's also a lot less punishing if you deploy a barrier and then you need to deploy another one to move. It's a lot more flexible, basically, and that's kind of what she needed. The biggest problem with Orisa was her lack of flexibility. You put a barrier down, the enemy team can just play around it. They know you're going to be moving around that position, right? So you can just take it easy and not panic when, like, Orisa's put a barrier somewhere too short or hasn't engaged far enough. And if you push it too close, then you can run around it, or you can do stuff around it, and it just So this adds that flexibility that Orisa needs. Is this one change enough? Honestly, I want to see it in-game. Again, I think they need a mechanic where you can just kill the shield and then get some cooldown reduction back when you do that. So if it's on 100% health, then maybe you get 100% of the cooldown reduction. If it's on 50% health, you get 50% off your cooldown, and so on, so on, so on, so on, so on. So that way you can just reposition it if you need to on the fly, but of course it doesn't punish the enemy, doesn't punish when the enemy team does damage to it. The enemy team doing damage to it still affects how fast it drops down. Whether or not you get fresh ones, though, that's sort of the hard part. Does it just recharge when it's like, does it re-heal, I guess, when it's being stored up, or when it's on cooldown? I don't know. I'll leave Blizzard to figure out the logistics of it. But what would be nice is, you know, just some way of repositioning quickly with Orisa, because that's the big problem, right? Reinhardt can adapt to threats, Orisa can't. And until that happens, she's not really going to be a part of anything, except for Sanctum, where you can just pull people off the side of the map and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. Otherwise, a couple of other changes. Reaper, Wraith Form ammo is now entirely refill when Wraith Form is used. If you didn't know, basically you could get away with reloading in Wraith Form anyway. So if you reloaded and then went into Wraith Form, it basically completes the reload while you're in Wraith Form. It's kind of strange. I don't know if it happens like even if you just tap R and a split second later, or if you have to have like half a second or something. But I have noticed that you don't have to complete the reload animation to actually reload while in Wraith form. So this is just a consistency thing, I guess, and just makes it a lot easier so that when you're coming out of Wraith form, if you didn't reload, you now have a bit of a fighting chance. Reaper needs something else, I think, still, just to differentiate him from Roadhog. I mean, my super cool idea would be to give him like a smoke bomb. So if you could just throw out a smoke every 20 seconds and it like gives you 10 seconds of smoke cover or something like that, just like a Counter-Strike smoke, and you can just run through a choke point using that. Wouldn't that be cool? He's Blackwatch, it makes sense, it fits with his sneakiness, it fits with his wanting to get close and close gaps. I would quite like that. You could also like smoke and then you could Wraith form somewhere different and mislead people. I don't know, I think that would be cool. And he's got it in the cinematic trailer, right? So that makes sense to me. Anyway, that's just my spitball idea. As long as Roadhog can kill people from mid-range reliably, I still don't see Reaper ever being a thing. Unfortunately for the Edgelord. Reinhardt. Good old Reinhardt. He needs some bug fixing, he needs some love, and apparently Blizzard are looking into Earthshatter. Effective height has been lowered from 3 meters to 2 meters. So what this means is that Earthshatter basically is a 3 meter tall cone. I don't think I actually knew how tall it was, but now it's only 2 meters, which is still pretty high up. And basically what this means is also the height threshold of objects that Earthshatter can climb has been lowered from 3 meters to 2 meters, making Earthshatter less likely to climb tall objects as it crawls along the ground. So basically if you think about Earthshatter as a cone and you imagine there's a 3 meter tall crate in it, it would basically climb to the top of that crate and still Earthshatter stuff on top of that. Now the crate has to be 2 meters tall for it to still do that. 2 meters is still pretty big, so it's, you know, it's still going to hit everything over a payload, for example. That's way less than 2 meters, I think, in most cases. So yeah, it still work fine with payloads, so I'm not too worried about it. Otherwise, this is just going to make it feel more consistent, I guess. That's the big thing that I think they're trying to go for, is just make it feel a little bit less bullshitty when you get Earthshattered by something. And like, I've had it before. I've been Genji and I've been miles in the sky, it feels like, and I've been Earthshattered somehow. And that's never fun. Whether this will actually make it harder for Reinhardt to Earthshatter Genjis is like the big thing here, because honestly, Shatter is the primary counter, basically, to Dragon Blade and Nano Blades. You try and get the Earthshatter on them, they can't do anything anymore, and you just win. Whether that's still the case, it should still be, because the Genji, of course, has to dash. Like, he'll dash up, get nano boosted, dash back down, usually, and then you Earthshatter where he's dashing down to, and that usually just works. So, yeah, I think it'd still be fine. Of course, the other big change is the heavy pulse rifle bullet damage decrease from 20 to 19. So Soldier 76 is just getting a BAP, a nerf BAP. He's losing 25 damage per clip, basically, in total, and honestly, I don't see this as being too big of a deal. It does increase the amount of shots he needs to kill someone by 1, which is quite nice, I guess. Is it by 1 actually? Yeah, no, it has to be by 1. Of course it's by 1. So, yeah, I don't think it will change too much, to be honest. I don't see, like, McCree suddenly swinging in off the back of this. If I remember right, when McCree was in meta, Soldier 76's pulse rifle was doing 15 damage a shot, so we're still nowhere near down there, and even then, Soldier was still sort of lurking in the sidelines occasionally, very rarely, admittedly. I think that's just more bromass, having a love letter for him from the pro scene, so yeah. I think he'll need to come down quite heavily for McCree to supersede him still. I think he's still very flexible. It's going to make Farah that little bit strong, but honestly, like with Pharmacy floating around, you generally need more than the Soldier anyway, just plugging away at her. I don't see this changing too much. It's just going to be a nice little bap on just how effective he is. It's a small tweak, and you'll probably feel it more so in the long term. Like if you play a lot of Soldier 76, well, occasionally now a kill will get away. Just because you miss one bullet, where before you didn't miss that one bullet. If you're not landing headshots and you're not getting drop off and all this kind of stuff that otherwise gets involved in the equation. But yeah, I don't see this as being groundbreaking, and I don't see it removing Soldier 76 from the meta anytime bloody soon, ladies and gents. Otherwise, there's 1 or 2 bug fixes in there. There's also a bug in there that is extremely annoying. Just enjoy this for 2 seconds, because this sums up the PTR experience. Isn't that nice? No, it isn't. Anyway, yeah, they've also fixed a quote-unquote bug where Winston's Primal Rage used to not give him full health when he's been hit by Anna's Biotic Grenade. So what it used to do was you basically get 500 health on Winston. So he'd just go to 500 health, I think, usually, when he Primal Raged if he had an anti-healing grenade. Now he's going to go to full health. So, yeah. Slight nerf to Anna, I guess. I guess you didn't need to, like, shit on Winston any more than she already does. So, yeah, I don't know. Fair enough, whatever. Other than that, the kill feed change is kind of interesting. I think they could clean it up a little bit. I'm sure you could portray an assist a little bit better than that. Just a little bit better, and honestly I wouldn't mind seeing assists come across for more kills. I don't know, it just feels nice to get your face in the kill feed a little bit more, and get recognized for you doing stuff. But I'm sure the Mercy mains will all be very, very pleased out there that they'll be all over the kill feed now, especially with Afara just nuking everybody. Anyway guys, that's about it really. I know I'm a bit behind on exporting coaching the minis. There was like some issues exporting one of them, so that sort of slowed everything down, but I should be getting back on that pretty soon. Should be doing that all tomorrow. And for those of you not aware, on the stream on the 5th till the 9th we'll be doing giveaways. So there'll be shirts and there'll be Overwatch game codes being given away every day between the 5th and the 9th. So do come by on the stream then if you want a chance at winning some loot. Should be pretty good, should be fun. It's a celebration to get after getting to 250 subs on Twitch, which I think is pretty incredible. Anyway, thank you guys for watching to the end. I've been Josh, as one voice amongst many. Toodles.